This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
The Jason Walker Show, broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Here's Jason Walker.
Yo, happy Friday. It is Friday, right? It is the Jason Walker Show, and coming to you inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Huge show today, and you know it's big when more and more people are getting on live to Facebook right at the start of the show, which is great. You can watch anytime. Appreciate it. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Podbean, Network One Sports, and of course, TreasureStateRadio.com. Huge show today. We are going to talk NFL draft with Gil Brandt, the legendary Cowboys executive, Hall of Famer in the NFL. He will join us. We also have on this day in history a whole lot more. We're going to talk about more sports being canceled across the country and whatnot. But we have huge breaking news to get to. And I guess everyone and their brother knows about it by now. But I can't sing, but if I could, I'd say that I'm coming home. Jamie Pickens becomes the second former Helena High Bengal that went Division I to come home to Helena to play for hometown Carroll College Saints. Jamie Pickens, the two-time Montana Gatorade Player of the Year, is going to be a Saints women's basketball player. Head coach Rachelle Sayers made the announcement a little bit within the last hour it came out, but Pickens entered the transfer portal at leaving the University of Montana, and her coach that recruited her, Shannon Schwayen, no longer there. Other players have left the Lady Grizz, and Pickens, we'll talk to her next week on the show, but had a opportunity to move home. She had 17 minutes per game last year, almost 8 points per game, and nearly 4 rebounds per game as a freshman for the Lady Grizz. A true freshman, by the way. But she joins former teammate Camden Hilborn in coming back to Helena. And it's a great get for Rachelle Sayers and the Saints women. And Jamie's one of those special players, and she always has been, from her freshman year of high school to her senior year, and then last year as a true freshman with the Lady Grizz. Jamie Pickens is a once-in-a-lifetime player. We heard her former coach Eric Peterson talk about her a lot over the last few years, and she's a winner. And just like her former teammate Cam Hilborn, who left Montana State after a year to come home to play for Carroll College, Jamie Pickens is going to be that type of dynamic game changer in the Frontier Conference. Does it get Carroll over the top? Maybe. We have to have a basketball season next year first, but this is a big, big get. And about the time the news broke, had a chance to catch up with head coach Rachelle Sayers, and she joins us now here on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. All right, Coach Sayers, a very big get for Carroll College. This is a good one, and I know you recruited her heavy out of high school, but Jamie is the type that can play D1. She gave it a go for a year, some changes in Missoula. She's coming back home. And the second big-time get for you guys in 2 years now with Camden Hilborn from a year ago.
Well, I think, the correlation between these Division I kids that we've had in the program, they've all been kids that we recruited out of high school. Even though Jamie had, some big-time offers, in University of Colorado and Montana and Gonzaga, she was still she was still talking to us. You know, I never felt like we were probably going to get her over those schools, as Montana was her dream school. But, you know, it tells you a lot about the character of the kid to at least keep us in the conversation. And I think, you know, the relationship that we built over that time is what we're seeing now, and an opportunity for her to come back home and to be a part of our program.
Obviously, the tough go in Missoula, we're not going to talk about that. But that obviously played into it with her being able now to enter that transfer portal and leave immediately within a couple of weeks.
Well, you know, I think, you know, it always been a dream of Jamie's to be a Lady Grizz, and she grew up watching, you know, her former coach star there and watching the success and the history of that program, and it was something she wanted to be a part of. And unfortunately, you know, it wasn't what she, I guess, wanted. And when Montana decided to cut ties with the coach that she went to play for, she decided that, you know, maybe a change was going to be the best thing for her.
And of course, in this day and age, being home definitely helps because we don't know the future. Rachelle Sayers joining us here, Carroll College head coach. So with Jamie entering the Carroll College Saints lineup now, obviously she's going to have to work a little bit, but as good as she is, I mean, she'll slide right in. She knows your system because she's practiced in it, you know, with open gyms and stuff over the last few years. She should know it pretty well, right?
Well, I mean, I think we're, you know, obviously you get a player like Jamie and, you know, you're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to take a look at what we do and how we do it. We've got to, you know, we're going to have a lot of scorers on the floor, and we've got a lot of returners. We got two post players in that position that return that had good solid freshman years, and Maddie Garretts and Genesis Wilkinson. And so, you know, being able to put the pieces together like we did with Camden last year is just going to, you know, be another challenge for the staff. I don't, you know, I'm not the type of coach that just sits back and says, well, we've got, you know, 4 returning starters and we just picked up, you know, a 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year and, you know, let's go. I'm actually sitting here right now watching one of our films from this year and trying to figure out, you know, what we're going to be able to do and how we're going to do it.
That's one thing I've seen over the years that I've covered Carroll women's basketball is your adaptability from one season to the next. And it might be, you know, when you brought in Cassie Hashley, your offense changed to be based around her, and rightfully so. It changes a little bit when she goes down. You bring in, you know, Hannah Dean steps up. And then last year you went more speed, more guard heavy up and down the floor. Well, now you're getting a great post player back who can, by the way, also she's as versatile a player that anybody has seen over the last probably 5 to 10 years in the state of Montana. She can step out and hit a 3 better than most bigs in the state.
You know, she was a Gatorade Player of the Year. You know, she was a top 100 recruit going into Montana. I mean, she's got a ton of talent. She's got a great skill set. But our job is to always make sure that we're challenging these kids and we're putting them in a situation that in her 3 years here, she continues to get better. I think it's a disservice to sit around and just coach her to be the player she is right now. I mean, I want to coach her to be the player we think she can continue to become. And so, you know, we're going to have to take a look at what we're doing and how we're doing it. And that also, you know, that has to do with Jamie, but that also has to do with the other players we have around her. We return, you know, 13 players with a lot of experience, and, you know, she's coming on to a good team. And so to be able to put those pieces together and keep everybody happy and contributing is also important.
You brought in Camden Hilborn a year ago, and your exact words were because she's a winner. Well, Jamie's part of that because of that dynasty that Helena High had. Jamie's a winner, and she did it. You know, she did track her senior year just to see what she could do, and she ended up being a state placer. So, I mean, and you know, this is a girl that can do a lot of different things, and both on and off the court, she's super smart. She's just a great girl, and now she comes into a program that is well respected and has players already, you know what I'm saying here is that this is a program that's full of winners, and Jamie just steps into place here.
And I think that says a lot about her. I think, I hope that people aren't too critical of her and this whole situation. This has been a hard situation for a lot of people. And I think it says a lot about her to take a look at her situation. There's a ton of schools that I guarantee that saw her enter the portal and were really, really excited, thinking they might have a chance to get back involved with her because they were probably recruiting her out of high school. But for her to take a step back and really know exactly what she wanted to do. And she wants to win, and she wants to be a part of a program that cares about winning, a program that, that the team, cares about winning more than anything else and cares about being great teammates. And she wanted to be a part of that. And obviously coming home was huge. I mean, for her to be able to come home and, her coaches couldn't be more excited. You've got Coach Peterson and Pizzezzi over there that were great Carroll basketball players themselves. And so, they're just beaming with this news. And then for her family, I mean, this is, college basketball is hard. And I think, to be able to share, this experience as short as it is with the people that matter most to you is extremely important. And to me, it's way more important than what division you play in and where you're playing at. I mean, it's all about the experience.
Final question for you, but was it really that tough of a sell to get her? I mean, once she entered and you guys started talking, was it tough for her to say, yeah, I'm coming to Carroll? I mean, like I said at the beginning, this is a girl that could play anywhere in the country.
Well, I think it was tough from the standpoint, I don't know that, for a while she kind of wasn't sure if she wanted to go back to Montana or she was going to stay. I think the rumors had already kind of started to circulate that, potentially she was going to transfer. And then once we knew she was entering the portal and she was going to transfer, then, I don't think it was, I mean, it's always a tough sell, but I think it was kind of a mutual thing that we were both really excited about the opportunity ahead. And, the first thing I did when we started to talk was, and I knew it was getting to the point where, she might be a saint, is I called every one of our players and talked to them about it and let them know, because I certainly didn't want them to hear it on this show or read it on Twitter. I wanted them to hear it from me, and they were so excited. And so that just shows you, the type of players and teammates that they are. So I think, that was evident and why she chose to come here.
Well, it was great last year to see the way that the guards came together with, Sienna and Jaden, with Camden coming in. Can't wait to see how Genesis and Maddie G handle Jamie coming in. They're going to accept her with open arms because she can teach. They can teach each other a lot of different things. It'll be fun to watch. Coach, congratulations. We appreciate it. Get back to work and stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, Jason.
So Rachelle Sayers joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline, and Jamie Pickens coming home. It's a huge get for Carroll College, and unfortunate the way everything happened in Missoula that led to this. But at the end of the day, Jamie Pickens is a saint, and that's going to be that bodes well for Carroll and does not bode well for the rest of the Frontier Conference. I'm telling you, if you've never seen back, Gil Brandt will join us, and we'll talk NFL next. Jason Walker Show.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back, Jason Walker Show, and the big news, of course, today, Jamie Pickens getting back into in Helena, which is awesome, and yeah, going to be a great time with her. But want to bring in a special guest now on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. He is a longtime family friend, and we have known each other for going on 30 years now. The NFL Hall of Fame executive, Gil Brandt, joins us from Texas. Mr. Brandt, how are you, sir?
Well, I am glad. I'm excited to be on the show with you. I know this is your dream to do this, and you know what? You're a very knowledgeable young man.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. Thank you, by the way, for the care package. Got some great autographed cards we're going to give away here on the Jason Walker Show. And a whole lot more because you're a great guy, and you sent along some fantastic stuff. Really enjoy the bobblehead.
Good. Well, we started in 1961, and I'll tell you a little story that'll make you wonder. You know, in those days, we didn't have a limit on the time you could take between draft picks, and so in 1964 or 1963, I should say. What took place was that we were waiting because one of the players that we were interested in, Mel Renfro, who's a Portland, Oregon guy who's in the Hall of Fame, and he had put his hand through a plate glass mirror, and we were really concerned about the fact that, you know, if you're a running back, which he was at the time, and you do that, you know, it's awful hard to carry the ball if you're don't have full flexibility in your wrist or hand. And so what happened is we sent a doctor, Dr. Slocum, down from Portland to Eugene to examine him. And about after 3 hours after, you know, waiting for our choice, Vince Lombardi walked over to our table and he said, "What happened? Did your machine break down?" He said, "I've never liked those things anyway." And to make a long story short, about 3 years later, he come and he said, "You know, that's a pretty darn good idea. I'd like to join with you." And we said, "Vince, that'd be fine. The startup fee is $3 million." He said, "I don't like it that much."
Gil Brandt joining us. He is the host. He's got his own show on XM and Sirius, and also the NFL.com senior advisor. We'll talk about the NFL draft here in a second. But like I said at the beginning, Gil, you and I go back about 30 years to my dad's convenience store in Gallatin Gateway. You've got a vacation home at Big Sky. I used to babysit your son. How is the family?
Well, they're fine. Everybody's fine. Hunter is 31 years old now, or will be 31 years old, and has a wonderful bride. Got married in Montana last summer. My wife is just as wonderful as ever and just as helpful and sweet as ever. And so everything is fine at the Brandt household. And, we've got a lot of friends, people like you, that we really, really, really appreciate.
I got to ask you this. Do you remember Hunter was probably, 6 or 7 maybe, and maybe a little bit older, and my brother was right there too, and we went fishing, and you dropped this somewhere between Townsend and Toston, and it was a private pond.
Yes, I do. I do remember a gentleman on exit 469, I think it is, had I don't know, 1 million acres of land there, and he let a couple of people, Bob Knight and myself, fish in that lake, that little pond that they had there. And I think he came back with some nice big fish, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we did. It was funny because we were catching like 6-pounders, and you're like, throw those back. There's bigger ones. And we ended up, there was. So Gil Brandt, our guest here, Jason Walker Show. We've got a whole bunch of autographed cards we're going to give away coming up a little bit later today, but which we appreciate. Let's talk about the NFL draft, because for a long time you've been covering, what is this, the 65th draft or 67th draft that you've been involved with?
I go back to 1956.
Wow.
Is when I go back. So I don't know how many years that is. But this, Jason, is the most unusual draft of all time. In 1960, we drafted the day after the championship game in Philadelphia between Green Bay and Philadelphia, and we drafted in the ballroom of the Warwick Hotel. And it was a very small place. We didn't have any. We wrote on a chalkboard who everybody took. I think three people took a player that wasn't even eligible to be drafted. Is what it was, and we had a total of six writers at that thing. Last year they had 2,500 writers at it. So it's become one of the biggest showcases of anything we do in football. They say next to the Super Bowl, it's the most covered and most written about event. And this year is especially more, it seems, than ever before. And, I'm just so happy that you asked me to be on with you, so we could talk about this a little bit.
All right, so who goes number 1?
Well, I think it's Joe Burrow goes number 1, the LSU quarterback. And he really had a great year, Clay. He threw 60 touchdown passes this year, completed 76% of his passes. And that's hard to do just standing in the backyard throwing a football is what it is. But I think that's the guy. And then I think the second guy in the draft is Young, the defensive end from Ohio State. I'm not sure what Detroit does. I think Detroit would like to get out of that spot and get additional picks. And then I think there's going to be a surprise in there at 4. I'm just thinking that just the Oregon quarterback, Herbert, is going to be the next guy that gets picked. I think he's going to surprise everybody. I think Tua is going to slip a little bit in this particular draft, and Herbert's going to be the guy.
How far does Tua slip?
Well, I'm not sure. I think it's one of those things that he's physically okay, but he's been beat up a lot. He's got a lot of injuries, and his hip is fine. But one thing you ask yourself when you invest $16 or $15 million in somebody, how long is his longevity? And that's what nobody knows. You don't want to take a guy like Tua and have his longevity 2 or 3 years, and then he's out of the league because he can't work anymore because of injury. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he's passed on, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if maybe San Diego doesn't roll the dice on him.
Gil Brandt joining us, the NFL.com senior advisor, longtime executive of the Dallas Cowboys, and a great family friend here on the Jason Walker Show. So with this draft, and you mentioned it's going to be unlike something we've ever seen before, Gil, where everything's done virtually, and executives are at their home and coaches are at their homes instead of everybody in one building. It's a lot different. And how do you think it'll go over?
Well, Jason, let me say this. The most important person in this draft is going to be the IT guy because in case you go down, you're in trouble. So you've got to have somebody there that normally wouldn't be there that has the knowledge to fix anything that happens. It's going to be hard to make a trade, as an example, because you're going through, supposedly ESPN has put in, I think, 127 phone lines, the most that they've ever had, and it's going to be a massive affair. The commissioner is going to run it from his basement of his house, and incidentally, Sirius Radio, which I have that show on that you talked about, we will have wall-to-wall coverage starting at 5 o'clock with a little interview with the commissioner, and then we'll have all of the choices, and we'll talk about all the choices. And let me mention a couple guys from the state of Montana. I think that there's a running back, Fike, I believe his name is, over at Montana Tech.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that somebody might sign him as a free agent. He's got a little bit of ability as a running back. I think the guy that has the best chance of being picked is Dante Olson, the linebacker, who's a really good football player from the University of Montana. And then there's a transfer student he transferred 2 years ago at Montana State, who had, I think, 15 sacks last year. A kid that grew up in Washington that has a chance. I think his name is I'm looking it up here. I'm cheating a little bit.
Bryce Stirk, is that the one?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yep.
Well, you're good. You're good. You deserve a big time show.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Talk to your friends at Sirius XM, and we'll take this thing national.
All right.
Do you think those guys, those three that you mentioned, do they get does Dante Olson get drafted? Because I
think he does. Yeah.
How high does he go?
Well, let me say this to you. I've got him in my top 150. Now, to any of your listeners, what you can do is you can go up into my site, or you can go into NFL.com, and you can see in order of all the top 150 players in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in my maybe 120 or something like that, which would basically put him in around the 4th or 5th round. Is what he's he's a young man that grew up in Oregon. His dad was a coach there at Southern Oregon, and he's really been a good football player.
He's been great.
And also, people, I hope the Helena Record, isn't that the name of your paper there?
The Independent Record, yeah.
Independent Record. I hope they appreciate what Montana and what Montana State have done in football. They've done a great job in that sparsely populated state and have really made everybody proud of them.
I think you had Dante at 108, which is pretty high up there. That's third round, fourth round type stuff, which is pretty impressive. And he's such a great guy. I've talked to him a couple of times, Dante Olson, and well-deserved, should have been a two-time Buchanan winner in my eyes. And I'm a Bobcat, but saying good things about a Grizz, that's like you saying good things about the Giants or the Redskins or the Eagles.
I brag on them all the time.
Gil Brandt, our guest here. A couple final questions. I know you're a busy guy, but when you look at the draft this year as opposed to back in 1956 or whenever you said you started, and then with the Cowboys all those years for 29 years, what's been the biggest change that you've enjoyed about the draft?
Oh, it's just everything. It's we've enjoyed great success. I think that we have people. I drafted players, and Pat Donovan, I think, has 4 of them that have gained that my draft choices or the Cowboy draft choices have appeared in 156 cumulative Pro Bowls.
Wow.
So we've had so many players. We've had basketball players, Cornell Green. We've had track people, Bob Hayes. We've done a great job. Coach Lander did such a great job at developing players, is what he did. And You know, and incidentally, should go off to Stenerud, who was just voted, and I was on that committee with Bill Belichick, and was just named one of the top 100 players in the history of the National Football League. So that was a special thing for him.
Jan is a fantastic guy. I interviewed him on the show. Him and I go back to, I think I was in 5th grade. He helped me buy my first ski pass, season pass and skis that year, after my first year of midget football in Bozeman. So we go way back. I got friends that are Hall of Famers. This is really cool.
Well, you're a good guy, and you're a very personable guy, and you're a very knowledgeable guy.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Brandt. How often do you get back to Montana?
I get back there quite a bit. You know, we have a direct flight from Dallas to Bozeman, and so that I'm able to come up there, you know, not as much as I want to. And incidentally, I understand that the governor said they're going to open the doors next week. Is that true?
Yeah, they're going to start that phase out or phase in process. Phase 1 starts next week, I think, or they're going to have a plan next week. They're going to announce about how they're going to phase it in. So hopefully you don't have to, you know, quarantine for 14 days.
Well, let me just say this. If I can be back there on May 6th, that's after the draft, I'll be back there on May 6th and spend a few days there because it's a great, great place. We're very lucky to live there.
It is a beautiful place. We love Montana, and you know, it's such a great thing to have you as a part of it. Tell me real quick about, because you have what, 8 guys that you drafted that are in the Hall of Fame, and that includes Troy Aikman and those guys. That was you know, in the Herschel Walker deal, which came later, obviously, but those 8 guys from 1960 to 1989. What is that? What do they mean to Cowboys' legacy?
Oh, they mean a lot. You know, the Cowboys, they're like the New York Yankees. You either love them or hate them. And they've, you know, we've been to 5 Super Bowls. Unfortunately, our record is 3 losses and 2 wins, and very easily we could have been 4-1. We won 114 games in the 70s. We have this greatest stadium in the world right now that cost over $1 billion to build. It's the Cowboy brand is unbelievable, and the franchise, as an example, we were criticized, or Mr. Murkison was criticized for paying $550,000 for the franchise. That's worth over $4 billion now. Not million, but billion.
Right, yeah, with a B. And then, of course, you know, it is America's team. I grew up a Cowboys fan. I'm a lifelong Cowboys fan. The boys basketball coach at one of the schools here, Guy Almquist, is a huge Cowboys fan. But, you know, my mom was a Steelers fan, and those were a great rivalry in the 70s, the Steelers and the Cowboys. My mom, though, was on the winning end of those 3 times.
Yeah, you know, it was like everything. It's one of those close things, and you win some and you lose some. It's just like when you go fishing. Some days you catch them, and other days you don't.
That's true. The fishing's always good. The catching sometimes is the hard part. You know, the Cowboys, obviously, too, with the cheerleaders, the Cowboys cheerleaders, they're legendary in themselves. Who brought that idea in?
Tex Schramm did. Tex Schramm was way ahead of his time as far as bringing ideas. You know, he's the one that started instant replay that's now so popular, is what he is. You know, we did so many things, but the greatest thing we did, I think, was to get into the computer business when nobody even knew what a computer was. And can you imagine now getting along without one? And you know, the thing that took place was when we started, we had one of these big IBM 365 computers, and it was about as big enough to fill your living room up, you know, built up about 2 feet with all kind of wires, and it didn't have the capacity that a laptop has today. So it's come a long way, and it's been a great ride. Well,
without computers, you wouldn't be having an NFL draft this year, so that's a big, big thing. Mr. Brandt, we appreciate your time, and I'm going to let you roll, but I know you're a busy guy. I'd love to catch up down the road, and if you get to Montana and get a chance to get up to Helena, I'd love to have you here in the Major Mortgage Man Cave, but appreciate you, appreciate your family and our friendship over the last 3 decades. And thank you for the cards. I know our listeners are going to enjoy getting a Hall of Fame autograph card from Gil Brandt.
And listen, I want you to call me tomorrow or Sunday, and we're going to work on this thing about Wednesday where we have that trivia question for you to do, and you could publicize it, have that trivia question for you, so we can get that all ironed out. Will you do that?
I will call you tomorrow tomorrow morning.
Okay, look forward to hearing from you.
All right, thanks, Gil.
Thanks a lot. You're a very fortunate guy. You live in a great city.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm fortunate to have you as a friend.
It's one of the greatest rides in the world. It's from Helena up to Great Falls.
That's true.
Along that river.
Oh,
it's one of the most relaxing things you can do.
That is absolutely true. Just made that trip. So
take care, Jason.
Thanks, Gil. We'll talk to you soon.
You can be proud of your family. Can be proud of you. You do a great job.
I appreciate that. Take care, Gil. We'll talk to you soon. That is Gil Brandt joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. The a longtime executive of the Dallas Cowboys, vice president, instituted so many great things, that Cowboys organization with Tex Schramm and Gil Brandt and Tom Landry. Man, we have cards that we're going to give away, in fact, starting now. Why don't you, let's see, how should we do this? You want to Facebook this? Is that how we want to do this? I've got autographed NFL cards. The first 5 to Facebook me, tell me how many Cowboys Gil Brandt drafted that are in the Hall of Fame. Okay? I already gave you the answer, so if you were listening to the interview, you already know the answer. And we also have Cafe Zydeco gift cards we'll throw in there as well. So how many NFL Hall of Famers did Gil Brandt draft from 1960 to 1989? If you're watching, I'm holding up the hands that tell you exactly how many it is. And I can't count higher than between 7 and 9. Okay? We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we will chat with, okay, my brother just faced, but you know you're going to get one. You can't answer it. Facebook us. How many Hall of Famers? When we come back, we're going to talk about Jamie Pickens a little bit more. We are going to break down Montana State men's basketball, what's going on there, and a whole lot more on a Friday, the Jason Walker Show, in that last segment with Gil Brandt, brought to you by our friends at Rucker's Furniture.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting, as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
Oh, I'm done with this.
Thinking about trying something new? The Montana Air National Guard has so many exciting career fields to choose from, many that can open up opportunities in your civilian life. The best part? You'll be getting paid to learn a new trade skill right here at home. What are you waiting for? Let's get you in school and get you paid. Contact Leak Fecto at 406-788-8962.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. During this time of uncertainty and stay-at-home orders, Dinners Done Right wants to remind you that they're still open. Just go to dinnersdoneright.com, place your order, and then pick it up for dinner that night, or plan ahead and order for the weekend. It's easy. Visit dinnersdoneright.com, register, pick your meals, then pick them up, or stop in and grab meals out of the front freezer. Dinners Done Right's taking extra precautions with extra cleanings going on with every piece of equipment and personnel. Dinners Done Right thanks you for your continued support, and may we all stay safe and healthy during this time.
All right. Apparently nothing wants to work today properly, but anyway, we're back. Jason Walker Show here on a finally Friday. And yeah, we are giving away autographed Gil Brandt Hall of Fame cards and Cafe Zydeco gift cards too. So how many Dallas Cowboys were drafted by Gil Brandt that went into the NFL Hall of Fame? We've got some answers correctly. So get your responses to me. You can Facebook message me. You can email, tweet, however you want to do it. And we'll get you set up with Cafe Zydeco gift card and also an NFL Hall of Fame autographed Gil Brandt Donruss card, which is awesome. And we appreciate Gil joining us from his home in Dallas, outside Dallas, just a little bit ago. What a fantastic guy. Love it. And great family. Also, Rachelle Sayers joining us earlier and talked about Jamie Pickens coming home and transferring from the Lady Grizz, and she becomes the third this year so far to transfer. Gabby Harrington transferred to Idaho. Kylie Froelich entered the transfer portal as well. This is all coming in the last few weeks, and then Jamie Pickens entered the transfer portal last night, and Skyline Sports was the first to break the news. We got to give Coulter all the credit, but once that was confirmed and the announcement went out about an hour ago or so, a little bit over an hour ago, and Rachelle Sayers very happy to have Jamie Pickens on board at Carroll College, and she should be. And Pickens joins a team that went 21-10 last year, won the Frontier Conference regular season crown, and was poised to make some big noise at the NAIA tournament before it was canceled. And I think they can still, next year, I mean, if we get basketball, if we get sports seasons, which I think we will, but Carroll's going to have, I mean, the Frontier Conference, man, you talk about Carroll and its post players the last, 6 years? You had Cassie Hashley. You had Hannah Dean. You had, and now you got Jamie Pickens. And let's not forget that Maddie Garretts and Genesis Wilkinson, both freshmen last year. Wilkinson, a true freshman. Garrett's a redshirt freshman. And Garrett's really a great player. And she's going to be fantastic for Carroll. Going to have to split some playing time now with Pickens. But like we talked about with Rachelle Sayers, that what the guards did last year with welcoming Camden Hilborn in after transferring from MSU is what the post players this year are going to have to do welcoming Pickens in. And last year worked out well. I mean, Sienna Swanwick, Jaden Lyman, and Cam Hilborn. At times, you had all three of those on the floor together, but the constant rotation of speed and great players, and that's exactly what you're going to get now is down on the block. And Pickens, very versatile. I mean, she can step out and hit a three better than most bigs in this state and in the Frontier Conference, and she's going to tear up the Frontier Conference. There's nobody in the Frontier that can guard her, I don't think. And you look at now, you put Pickens at the 5 and Christine Denny at the 4. Holy cow. Nobody can guard those two. And then you got still got the great guards out front. And let's not forget Danny Wagner's coming back. So good luck, Frontier, with Carroll next year. Carroll's got to be the pick to win the Frontier next year again. Man. Anyway, so congratulations. We will have Jamie Pickens on the air, I believe, Monday. We'll let you know on the social media, but Jamie Pickens will join us next week here on the Jason Walker Show. Man, oh man, it's just like a huge get. By the way, speaking of get on the schedule now for all of your lawn, pest, and tree needs at Nitro Green. Give them a call, 443-5088, or visit nitrogreenhelena.com, or whatever city you live in that has Nitro Green. Have them come do all of your spruce up, and they'll get rid of your spiders, they'll get rid of your hornets, they'll get rid of whatever little pesky insects and just nastiness that you don't want around the house. They will take care of it. And we appreciate Nitro Green here on the Jason Walker Show. All right, what else did we want to chat about? Oh, Montana State. So Montana State men's basketball's got some issues. 5 players have entered the transfer portal. And most of them probably because their, minutes weren't great. There's different reasons that players, transfer in and out. But this is 5 since the season has ended. And, Danny Sprinkle turning things around. There's no question about that. But Michael Paulo became the latest on Thursday. And so he joins Zach Hobbs and Brent Finn, and then Zeke Quinlan and Quentin Gilliford, all who have entered the transfer portal. So it'll be interesting to see. Montana State with a couple of scholarships now. They've already announced the signing of a few players, including Alex Germer from Sentinel, who's coming in as a next class of 2021. But it'll be interesting to see what happens down there in Bozeman. Keep an eye on that. 5 players have entered the transfer portal to leave Montana State. And this was part of the reason Brian Fish was let go, is because he couldn't retain players. Now, I know Danny Sprinkle's going to have things turned around, but it's not a great start with 5 guys leaving. And we don't know the reasons. They could be for, home, sickness, whatever it is. But keep an eye on that, for sure. Also today, Idaho canceled, became the 27th state to cancel its high school spring sports season. And so now literally every neighboring state to Montana, with the exception of North Dakota, has canceled its spring sports seasons. South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and Montana's still sitting there hoping out hope. Got till next Friday. They're going to revisit. Governor Bullock came out today and said they're going to start next week. They should have a plan in place to start the gradual reopening for the state of Montana. That's still going to be a couple of weeks. Phase 1 still has to, you have a whole lot of things that still have to happen. And you're not going to have kids going back to school. You're not going to have spring sports. Just pull the trigger. Get it done. So, there you go. Man. Literally every state around Montana, except North Dakota, has canceled. And North Dakota's going to, because they can't. You just can't. You can't have anybody in groups of 10 or more. That's part of phase 1 of the rollout that governors all across the country are dealing with. But, man. Anyway. What else did we see today that we wanted to chat about? Obviously, the big news, Jamie Pickens, but 27 states. That's more than half, by the way, if you're keeping track. And who isn't? Because that's what we should all be doing, is keeping track here on the Jason Walker Show. All right, so let's do On This Day in History, shall we? It is brought to you by the Motherlode Sports Bar, Casino, and Restaurant. If you're looking for food this weekend, I highly recommend calling ahead, getting a to-go order from either the Motherlode or Cafe Zydeco or Dinner's Done Right. You can stop by, grab stuff out of the freezer, pay for it first at Dinner's Done Right, but you can take it home and cook it. And also, if you are not signed up yet at Green Meadow Country Club, you need to get signed up, become a member, and then you get to-go orders there. Today is International Bat Appreciation Day. Now, I don't know if that is flying bats or baseball bats, but if it's flying bats in China, then we don't appreciate them. It is Cheese Ball Day, which is, I would expected Cheese Ball Day to be around Super Bowl, right? Those cheese balls, the wife hates them. I love them. They're great. You get the smoky bacon flavored one. It is National Ellis Island Family History Day, Haiku Poetry Day, Clean Out Your Medicine Cabinet Day, and Crawfish Day. Speaking of crawfish, Cafe Zydeco, amazing crawfish. On this date in 1869, the first pro baseball game, Cincinnati beat Cincinnati 24-15. The pros beat the amateurs. 1911, the Boston Marathon won by Clarence DeMar in a race record time. Now, it was the first of his 7 race victories overall in the Boston Marathon. We talked about him the other day. DeMar then won again on this date in 1922, the first of 3 straight wins. 1923, the longest National League opening day game, the Phillies and the Dodgers would end in a 5-5 tie after 14 innings. So everybody that gave Major League Baseball a hard time for the All-Star game ending in a tie, about a decade and a half ago, you can all just lock it up and pipe it up, because there was a regular season game in 1923 that ended in a tie. On this date, 1925, New York Yankee Babe Ruth had ulcer surgery. 1947, Jackie Robinson bunted for his first Major League hit. 1951, Mickey Mantle's first game went 1 for 4. And then 2 years later on this date, Mickey Mantle launched a 565-foot homer at D.C.'s Griffith Stadium, and to this day, still believed to be the longest home run. 1976, the greatest comeback in the National League. Philadelphia trailed 12-1 to the Chicago Cubs. They came back to win 18-16 in 10 innings. Mike Schmidt, 4 consecutive home runs. Happy birthday today, 1820, Alexander Cartwright, recognized as the inventor of modern baseball. Him and Abner Doubleday. Also happy birthday, 1974. Victoria Beckham. Posh Spice was born on this date in 1974. Married to David Beckham, the soccer player, so that's how we tie it into sports. So there. By the way, the On This Day in History brought to you by our good friends at the Motherlode Sports Bar, Casino, and Restaurant. Support for the Jason Walker Show comes in part from Manscaped. You know, got the NFL draft coming up next week, all virtual. And Gil Brandt thinks that Joe Burrow is going to go number 1. He also believes that Dante Olson will be drafted from the Grizz in the 3rd or 4th round. He has him ranked his 108th out of his top 150. That's pretty good. And Dante Olson should get drafted. Bryce Sturck, another one. And he talked about Jed Fike from Tech, which is pretty cool. All right, Manscaped 3.0, perfect package. Get it. As when you trim the hedges, that tree stands taller. 3rd-generation trimmer. Cutting-edge ceramic blade prevents manscaping accidents thanks to advanced skin-safe technology. Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with a new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. It's waterproof, cordless, LED light. You get a ton of other liquid formulations, including hair and body wash. You got the Crop Preserver, Crop Reviver, cologne. You also have just unbelievable. It's just great stuff. Get it. Okay? Manscaped.com. You also get the Shed travel bag and the patented high-performance anti-chafing boxer briefs, which are very comfortable. Perfect package here for your franchise quarterback. Get 20% off and free shipping. Use the code WALKER20 at manscaped.com. That is WALKER20 at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping. Get yourself the Joe Burrow of trimmers. Lawnmower 3.0. All right. Let's page up. Let's do, where are we at? Hold on. 3, 2, 1, boom. Yeah.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
Jason Walker Show and the walk-off brought to you by Cafe Zydeco. We talked about the crawfish. 625 Euclid. They are open tonight, tomorrow. Call ahead, get your to-go order, and support some of our great sponsors, Cafe Zydeco, The Motherlode, Dinner's Done Right, and if you're a member at Green Meadow Country Club. If you're not, tell them you heard it on the Jason Walker Show. Get signed up. All right, we learned today that Gil Brandt is still cool. The former executive of the Dallas Cowboys introduced computers to the draft, shared a great story about Vince Lombardi on our show today. You can always rewatch and re-listen, jasonwalkershow.com if you missed anything. We also talked to Rachelle Sayers, and Rachelle Sayers breaking the news that Jamie Pickens is coming home to Helena, transferring from the University of Montana. Huge get for the Saints women, and the Frontier Conference is in some trouble now because you got Jamie Pickens, who literally could play anywhere in the country, I believe. I watched her for 4 years in high school. 2-time Montana Gatorade Player of the Year, 3-time state champ. Now, yes, she had teammates, one of whom she'll be playing with at Carroll in Camden Hillborn. But Pickens coming home. It's a huge get. Jamie will join us on the Jason Walker Show next week, I believe Monday, but we'll let you know. And we had a great week. And next week, even just as good. Great guests lined up. We'll talk to Troy Ross. Troy Strong? Yeah, Troy Ross will join us next week. Kirk McKnight, the author. Nick McCarville will join us as well. Mark Ader, the Bozeman Activities Director. And also Bob Valvano will join us. Yes, Jimmy V's brother. Bobby V will join us a week from today, next Friday. Going to be a couple of great days next week. Well, all 5. Have yourself a great weekend. Please, have fun, stay safe, and take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Have fun. Go out for a walk. Go to the park. And just have a good time. All right. Also, don't forget to message me. Tweet, Facebook, email. How many NFL Hall of Famers did Gil Brandt draft between 1960 and 1989? Let me know. Okay? I'm giving you the answer with hands if you're watching on the Facebook. I've got a Gil Brandt autographed Hall of Fame induction card and Cafe Zydeco gift card to send you. We'll see you on Monday. Jason Walker Show. Have yourself a great weekend.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.